Gylfi Sigurdsson there with his super fan Tom Davis in the Goodison Park stand, just shouting in the background. Ashley, he gave quite a boring answer, like Simon Crabtree said there. But in terms of the focus for Everton, they can't get carried away, can they? No,
but I think it's exciting times for them. They've earned, the conversation to be in this position where we're saying, can they squeeze into the top four? For Gylfi, that's the correct answer because it is the next game. That's what they need to focus on.
The players really think that.
Yeah, I think that the leaders in the changing room will be making sure that happens, definitely, because you can't take your eye off the ball. The games come thick and fast. Every team's dangerous. They'll be cooling down tomorrow and getting their bodies, right for the next game. And that's really, you just have to look after the next game always.
And when you look at Everton tonight as well, we talked about it before, about maybe a few nerves coming in towards the end. Lost 3 in a row before tonight. You could sense that in their performance. They'll feel better for that, won't they?
Definitely. You could feel it, I think, the last 10 or 15 minutes. When you're only... one is never enough in a Premier League game. You can boss it in so many different ways. But if you're only 1-0 up, you're not home and dry until that whistle goes. And you felt that the last quarter of an hour, they were backpedaling a wee bit. Southampton are now pushing people forward here, there and everywhere. And the ball's getting thrown into the 6-yard box. They've got Vestergaard and everybody in there competing for it. The goalkeeper's having to come and work hard. And they're a bit brittle confidence-wise at Goodison at the moment because of some poor results. So sometimes, Ian, it doesn't matter how it's done as long as you do it, as long as you get it over the line. And they did that tonight. Yeah,
it felt like that towards the end, certainly. In terms of the result then for Everton as well, it takes them level on points with Liverpool. They've still got a game in hand as well, which they'll play coming up soon, away at West Brom in the week. When you sort of look at this situation, you know Everton well, what would it mean to them to have even the chance of finishing above their City rivals?
A lot. I think, for the Evertonians, it would mean the world to them. I'm sure that the victory last weekend was sweet. And, I think that you need to keep it in perspective. They're having a good season. They've got a really good manager, a good squad of players. They're doing consistently well now. They've pulled that together a little bit. This win will be massive for them at home. Clean sheet, 1-0 as a defender, you'd love that. And it's, as I said before, not getting too far ahead of yourself, concentrating on the next game, taking care of business, and then, when it gets a bit further on, you see where you are.
Yeah, you mentioned consistency there, Ashley, and in terms of Everton, it was the first time they'd recorded back-to-back victories in 2021 in the Premier League, and it was an early goal, but it was an important goal in the end. It was the vital goal in the game.
Good goal too, as well. Richarlison took it very well. Gylfi Sigurdsson in too much space, just in that little pocket right there. Once he's allowed to pull that out the sky and turn, he'll find somebody. But he's still got a bit to do there, Ashley, hasn't he, Richarlison?
Yeah, I think it's a great finish on his weaker foot from a tight angle. But as you said, that's a good touch. Nice release. Takes it round him. Tight angle, good finish. Yeah. Good start for Everton.
Really good goal, that. Really good work. But you cannot allow Gylfi Sigurdsson. And you were saying, Ashley, when that happened, in terms of having somebody on the ball in that situation where they can turn and play something very quickly. He's one of the best at that you've worked with.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say he's one of the best in the league. His timing and his weight of pass, he releases it. It's so difficult for a defender to turn when you're he gives the striker exactly what he wants. Some players take an extra touch and it kills the move. Gylfi's normally on the half turn, one touch, next one's coming through with the right weight of pass.
What I don't understand about that is that Ward-Prowse and Armstrong, if you're playing against Gylfi Sigurdsson, you've got to get in and around him. You've got to try and deny him. You can't let him wander in those positions behind you unless you turn around to one of your centre-halves and say,
well, is it a communication issue?
No. Well, yeah, I think it is.
Because they should be telling him he's there behind.
On the flip side, as a centre-half, from my perspective...
You can see them.
I can see it, and it's not like it happened like that. He was standing. He didn't even move. He was standing there for a good 10 seconds.
And those defenders know that these two are playing together in the absence of Romeu in a slightly unfamiliar partnership, aren't they?
Yeah, so you would think that they've spoken about that before the game, leading into it. And then especially when, Jordan Pickford's got the ball at his feet and he's standing the wrong side of his two midfielders. If you're a centre-half, you want to be dragging one back in and leave the furthest midfielder away is not as much of a threat.
Yeah, and immediately then, if you're a Saints player, with the form and the run that they've been on, you concede a goal like that's a bit careless and you're chasing a game.
I think Ashley said it at half-time. It was about getting the basics right in this sort of circumstance. And that's exactly what they got wrong. Time and time again,
100%, yeah, too often in the first half. But that there is preventable. I think that's a bit of communication, as we say, and a bit of feel for something that might develop. Someone gets closer to him, force him backwards, send him wide, and all of a sudden then you get a chance to recover. But if a number 10 picks the ball up and doesn't feel any pressure, turns, he can start threading people, and really good goal.
Yeah, it was a good goal, and it was the decisive goal, like we say. But in terms of Southampton, Ashley, they did have the chances in that second half, didn't they? Certainly towards the end of the game, it felt like Everton were hanging on a little bit.
Yeah, and it was pleasing from a Southampton point of view. A little bit frustrating they didn't do it earlier, but they started to get the ball down and play with a bit of intensity. That is a great chance. He needs to hit the target there and at least work the goalkeeper. That was the big one, I think, that they needed to score, really. But as I say, pushing on, and as Andy said, they put a lot of balls in the box, put Jordan under pressure a lot, scramble.
This was the chance, wasn't it, for Yannick Vestergaard when it falls, Andy?
Yeah.
Just kind of loses his footing, actually, didn't he, at the last moment?
He kind of tackles the shot. He slips a little bit, and he's not used to being in that position. But that was a good. But to give credit to Jordan, that's a really good save. He comes out and makes himself big.
Ashley, you played with Jordan. There's always a focus on him in this country because he is England #1, or he has been the England #1. Where do we sort of stand in how good he is and what he needs to do to stop all this questioning it's in? Because it's constant almost, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, well, first and foremost, I played with him. I think he's an excellent goalkeeper, one of the best that I've played with. Very talented, good with the ball at his feet, which is so important these days. So agile, good shot stopper, saves like that. With Jordan, I think that he probably, we spoke about it during the game, he just needs a patch of quietness around him. Just consistently doing a good job, getting his clean sheets. When the ball's coming in towards the end there's a couple of punches he hasn't really connected with, and then that momentum builds, and then Ward-Prowse is putting it on top of him again, and he just needs a run of some solid games, I think, where we're not talking about him so much, to give him a little bit of confidence and let him play his own game a little bit.
I totally agree with that. I think there are times when he might come and try and get involved in certain things. To his credit, he's wanting to try and help, but actually it's a vulnerability for him, I think, sometimes, that he wants to come and punch things over the top of a big crowd scene in front of him, when he did it actually very well tonight. He did. Yeah. But there are times when he tries to do that, when he doesn't look physically capable of affecting it enough in that scenarios, because he just doesn't have the sheer height that some of the real big goalkeepers have to climb over people and make good contact. But he's not lacking in any confidence whatsoever. No, actually, he's a confident boy.
I think, he said it's not for, it's not
for the right reasons.
Yeah, it's for the right reasons. But if you've got Michael Keane and Dominic Calvert-Lewin in front of you, let them go and head it. Yeah. You stay at home. Don't get yourself into bother. And that's why I say, maybe he just needs some quieter games.
Is he too emotional, Ashley? Because that seems to be the one sort of phrase that's always used in criticism towards him.
Yeah.
You said there.
Possibly. Possibly. I think that he is an emotional character. He's an emotional player. And, sometimes he'll do something amazing and sometimes he'll make a mistake. And I just think he needs to close the gap on that a little bit and just, as I say, just be consistently solid, re-establish himself back in the team and realistically do what he did tonight, which was, when you're called upon, keep the ball out of the net.
For goalkeepers, it's a different era this now, because we're seeing lots of goalkeepers, they're outside the box. We're asking them to have the ball at their feet, something that Jordan Pickford does very well. But they're kind of getting involved in areas, certainly from my generation, they would never have gone near. If you'd have said to David Seaman, one of the best goalkeepers from my era, come out there and start doing this, no chance. He'd stay in between the posts, he's under the crossbar. That's where I'm going to be if you need me, guys. I'll make sure I come and deal with something if I have to.
Yeah.
So it's a role that has probably evolved more than any other on the field, actually, over the last few years.
Yeah, and he is definitely capable of that.
Yeah.
We've seen tonight, he was 10 yards away from his centre halves and involved in the build-up, and he can start attacks very well. But you've got to ask the question, by putting his energies into that, sometimes does it take away from his actual what he gets paid to do, which is use his hands and keep the ball out the goal. So there's pros and cons to it, but I think that he, as an all-rounder, he's an excellent goalkeeper, definitely.
Yeah, a clean sheet tonight for Jordan Pickford, only adding to the frustration at the moment for Ralph Hasenhüttl. 9 matches now without a win for his side in the Premier League. Let's hear from him.
Ralph, tight game, didn't go your way. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, not a good start today with the first goal, the first chance. It's not really a goal chance, it's a long ball, and we don't defend it well. And then it was a good goal from Richarlison, where he was running deep, so tough to defend. We have seen the same goal against Liverpool. It's his strength, and we couldn't defend it in the right way. Yeah, but that's it, I think, from Everton. I haven't seen a lot of... they had a few chances from set pieces, and we, in a moment, we cannot score. This is our problem. I mean, we didn't have so many chances today, and in the last third, the 1 against 1, the last pass, the last duel to win, to score, is not there in the moment. Not strong enough, and yeah, that's the reason why we struggle in the moment of scoring goals. This is the last 2 goals we scored was Minamino, and he was out today also. And I mean, it's not missing so much when I see the game in the second half. We tried a lot. We
attempts. Is there a sense of relief perhaps there tonight that it's finally arrived?
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to get 3 points. Really good to back it up after good a win at Anfield. Obviously, defensively we were really good. Nice to get the 3 points, but yeah, as you said, it's perfect to back it up after 3 points at Anfield.
Your fan club's up here in the stands as well. An assist for you, maybe that's why he's cheering.
Yeah, I think so. He's obviously Evertonian, so he's a good guy.
A goal as well for Richarlison. That's his 3rd in a row now, 5 in 5. What's changed for him? I think it was only before that run 1 since September.
Nothing. I think as a striker you go through these spells where you score 3 in 3, 5 in 5, but then you might go through games where you're not scoring. But he just kept going, worked as hard as he has always done, and we knew that he was going to score goals for us, so it's just a matter of time.
A clean sheet as well here at Goodison Park. Probably have Jordan to thank for that right towards the end there.
Yeah, I think Jordan was obviously very good. Made a couple of great saves, but I think the back 4 were fantastic, dealing with their corner set pieces and balls into the box. But I think overall we defended really well.
So just finally then, you've got, 2 points behind 4th place. You've got a game in hand. What are you thinking now?
About the next game.
That's such a boring answer, Gilfie.
As simple as that. Obviously fantastic to get the 3 points tonight. We'll be celebrating tonight, but then tomorrow we're back in and preparing for the next game.
It's an answer that your manager will appreciate. Thank you, well done tonight.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks.